Hey, what's going on today? It's been a minute since I posted anything. I've been stupid busy. I started a foods distributing job. It's a self-employment contracting position, and so basically everything is up to me to fix all the problems, and so that's what I've been doing. I just got through with two wrecks. With the last ice storm, it rode me off the road outside of Alva on our route. Me and my sister-in-law, and then I bought a new vehicle, and not even 5 days after I purchased that new vehicle, I wrecked that one. We were in a rollover outside of Alva once again. The wind caught a hold of my trailer, and it was just a bad deal. So now that all that's over with, I should have some more time to be working on my music. It's Things are starting to calm down a little bit for me, so I figured I'd get back to making some videos. Well, the nearest thing that's coming up, I'll be playing for the third Thursday of every month. The Woodward Main Street businesses have started to leave their doors open a little later, every third Thursday of the month. And Lori Steenbergen at the theater has asked me to play for that. And I think next month, if I am free, I'm going to be playing at the third Thursday for A Touch of Home. And there are talks for another open mic night at A Touch of Home, probably late May, early June, more than likely. If you'd like to come out to that and you live in the Woodward area, I'd love to hear you. And you'll hear more about that soon. Right now, if I'm really quiet for a second, it's crazy windy outside, and we've had several wildfires sprout up. There's some north of Woodward, there's some south of Woodward. Sealing and Visay, Fargo, or Sealing and Visay and Fort Supply, and all those towns are getting the worst of it. But right now we are surrounded by fire, and it's been an insane few days. So for all those that were affected by that fire, I hope you didn't lose too much. I hope you all are safe, and I hope this gets over with as quickly as possible, and we don't have any more for the rest of the year. So with that being said, let's get down to it. I think this time I'm going to give you a commentary on the first track off of my album, Just a Short While Now, which is an intro track. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the song in my ear, and I'll talk about it as I go. I'll probably pause it every now and again. So here we go. Pause. That noise right there is actually just me whistling into my phone. I had the GarageBand app on my phone, and I was using the sampler that they had on there, and it was just me, just that. That's it. And then I pitched it way down so it sounds sort of like windy and like a good opener. And so that's that noise. It's just a GarageBand whistle sample. And then when I started to sing right here, I wanted it to feel as though you were in the moment and like I was nearby. There's no reverb on that or any treatment at all whatsoever, no auto-tune. It's basically just my voice. And then sprouts up another voice for the harmonies. And I just wanted it to feel like a sort of beginning, like you are there are two voices and that's it, and this is marking the beginning of this entire album. And then to build anticipation comes the bells. And I space them out just to, continue that suspense. And actually these bells, let me pause for a moment. Those bells were actually, I found them in my garage. I moved back in May into my parents' house, and I was going through the garage and I was helping my dad clean. And I found my old bell set from high school when I started marching band, when I was in percussion in the drum line, and I saw those and I was like, I have to have that on my album. And so I just those are the same bells that I took to Tulsa to record at the Closet Studios, and basically what you're hearing is just the end of a headphone jack like this one here. I took two of them and I struck the bells with them because I didn't have any mallets. And so all the double stops and everything that you hear throughout the album on those bells is just a headphone jack on a high school set of bells. And then you hear the bass come in. The bass is actually from this auxiliary cable. much like the end of a headphone. And I plugged it into the audio input on my interface, and I just touched the other end like this and caused a 60 cycle hum to go through it, and then I pitched that down for the sound of the bass synth. Once I got into the studio, I think Kendall used an actual bass synth. He replaced that noise, although he may have taken that from my direct demo. Anyway, so that's how that started on the demo. That's how I got that idea. Once again, I'm just using whatever's laying around at the time. And then I build up suspense, and here comes the Alan Watts quote.
All people, and this also includes all beings whatsoever, but we're talking mainly, of course, about human beings. All people are manifestations, disguises of the total reality behind this cosmos. And that if that is so, there are not any mistakes.
So then I just used a floor tom, and I was just drumming the crap out of it. For this album, I kind of wanted the sound to be sort of primal, sort of not refined. I didn't really want any big drum sets like you would traditionally have on a rock album. I just wanted it to be a floor tom, as if it were like, like I said, a more primal, simple, just beat-driven sound. And so I used a floor tom for that. And Alan Watts is a British philosopher on Eastern philosophy. Basically, what he was best at was taking the Eastern philosophies and having them make sense to your average American or English person. At the time that I found Alan Watts, I was going through a pretty rough time. That was right after the breakup of my last band, and I found the philosophies of Alan Watts, and basically that just helped me to realize some of the potential and some of the purpose that I needed to find for myself at that time. So if you're going through some rough stuff, I would suggest that you give Alan Watts a listen. He basically talks about, in this quote, he's saying that humankind is not a result of nature or the entire cosmos or your surroundings, but it is rather a part of it. Humanity itself is sort of just the bloom on the end of a cherry blossom branch, or the swirls at the end of an ink splatter. We are inseparable from all of reality, rather than there being a me and also there being my surroundings. There is a continuity there. That which you regard to be you does not end at the edge of your skin. And so what he's saying, that as a result of us being a part of the entire cosmos, there is no such thing as a mistake. You don't look at the markings in a tree and say that one is not good and this one is good morally or ethically. You don't look at patterns in the sand and say that one is morally incorrect and this one is morally correct. And that is the way that humanity should also be regarded, in that we are a part of our entire reality, and so there is no moral objectification that we can honestly place upon ourselves.
When you look at the outlines of mountains, the grain in wood, and the markings on marble, you notice that it never makes an aesthetic mistake.
And there comes the acoustic guitar. And in comes that bass synth to the entire song on a punctuation. Basically what I wanted to do was, the first time around the vocals were completely dry. Like I said, I wanted it to feel like I was standing next to you, sort of in the middle of nowhere or whatever, in complete silence. And then later on I wanted it to have more of a musical feel. I had several layers of my own voice, lots of reverb, lots of treatment, and it all comes in as if it were a choir to establish that, yes, this now is the music. This is where the actual music begins, and this is the opening of the album. So that's it for this one. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making this one. It was one of my favorites. Well, that's it for this one, and I'll see you next time for Empty Skies. Thank you for watching.